Second in the series points. I imagine you're looking forward to this weekend. This is your stomping grounds, kind of, isn't it?
It's fun to come close to home anyway. So it's always fun to see all the fans and your friends and family and people that come to the racetrack. So it's a racetrack that obviously I've been fortunate to race on a lot and seen it go through a lot of different changes through the years, but I always enjoy coming back.
Questions for Kevin? Hands in the air. Tom, you're our leadoff man again.
Hi, Kevin. Tom Jensen, Speed.com. How good's your team right now? You've been at Childress for a long time now. You know, you can obviously evaluate where you're at. You ready to win a championship this year?
You know, I think as you look at just the 29 team, I'm just going to speak for that particular team. I think for me, it's fun to be a part of because I've never been a part of something that the chemistry is so good and you know, you can change things around and you can swap teams and you know, obviously Gil's been a part of my team before and you know the chemistry still wasn't what it is today. So Gil does a great job with the guys and this group of guys has been together for a long time and you know I think that helps and the biggest thing is it's a good group of racers and when you get a group of racers together you know, they don't take offense to things that you say or something that you do wrong because they're all going to do something wrong or say something wrong at a particular point too. So the chemistry of this team is great. Obviously, you always want to get faster cars and you always want the performance to be better. But I feel like when you have a team like this, even when you're off, you can still salvage something decent out of a day, and I think that's what it takes to be competitive for championships.
David.
David Carville, NASCAR.com. Last year's race here was so physical and so aggressive. I mean, is that just a function of this place and how limited the passing areas are, or was last year just crazy in and unto itself?
It's always pretty physical. You know, I think when you look back at years past, and may not seem as physical as it has been, but I think you know that there are very limited places to pass, and so when you see somebody that's vulnerable, you have to take advantage of it, and you know when you get taken advantage of, you obviously want to minimize it, you know, as much as you can, and as long as the fenders aren't rubbing the tires here, you know, you can usually still make good lap times. So it's the road courses have become very physical races, and the cars look more like they should have been at Martinsville than you know, probably anywhere else. So it's a fun race. It has become very physical over the last 3 or 4 years. So I think that's more of a tribute to this particular car because it's just you can be more aggressive with it and not get yourself in trouble with fenders dragging tires and things.
Who's next for Kevin? Lewis and then Jenna.
Not to harp on your stealth wins. Can you come back from here? You know, you have to stay on the lead lap in order to win this. So how far back dare you go? You know, before you lose a chance to win here.
You know, we didn't qualify well last year, and seems like our most successful weekends are weekends that we don't qualify well. But you know, it just depends on how the day goes. You know, this particular race has become more of a. It could be strategy, but the tires have become more important than it seems like strategy. So, do you go for fuel mileage? You know, I think Robbie finished second last year, and he was on a fuel mileage strategy. 48 was on tire strategy. We were on tire strategy. So it all just kind of meets in the middle. And you know, I think as you go through the day, you can make up a lot of ground by being on a different strategy than the others. So, if you start in the back, you just do something different, and if it falls your way that day, it falls your way. But I have a feeling that tires are going to be pretty important.
Jenna
Fryer, AP. After the race last week in Michigan, Carl called on NASCAR to look at some downforce changes for the 2013 car. Do you see that do you agree with him that that's something that is needed? And secondly, is the race off of pit road, has that become too important where races are won and lost there?
Well, I think I'll answer your second question first. The pit road stuff is very competitive, and those are, you know, when you look at and you hear people talk about this as a team sport, it really is a team sport because the guys, everybody's important. I don't have to go through each position, but the guys on pit road are as important as any driver or any car or anything that you can put on a track, because no matter how fast your car is, if you have a crappy pit crew and don't get off pit road, you'll never win a race. So the guys on pit road are as important as anything you can put in. I don't know if that's too much emphasis put on one particular position or segment or part of the sport. I don't know.
The point that Carl makes, where if you don't come off first or second
Mm-hmm.
on that last pit stop, you don't win the race.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you've definitely seen the strategy come into effect. How to make that different, or is that wrong? I don't know. I think that the one thing that is hard about our series is it has become so competitive and the cars run so close to the same speed that passing does become harder. So I can't say that I disagree with him, but I don't know. I always tend to go in a direction of, if I don't have an answer, I don't complain about it, and I don't have an answer for that particular problem. So that'd be a great question for those guys in the trailer. They have all the answers.
Who's next, Debbie?
Hi, Debbie Arrington, Sacramento Bee. Welcome back to Sonoma.
Thank you.
You mentioned that you'd seen so many changes here over the years. What are some of the ones that stand out in your mind as the best changes?
Well, I think just the when you stand up on the hills and look down at the racetrack, I think you, as a fan, you can see a lot more of the racetrack. You can see a lot of the improvements to the surface. I mean, there's just it seems like every year we come back, there's more improvements. I still wish we ran the carousel. I don't think that was one of the better improvements. I think that that was more fun and seemed like it created. I know we try to create more passing zones, but I don't think that the way that it was done necessarily did that. But so I think I've been through, I guess, 2 different eras of the racetrack. But it's every time you come back, there's just something better, and they do a really good job of just making the facility nice, and everything here has been redone, I think, since I started. We might use the same tires in what I call turn 11 down there, but not much else is the same as it used to be.
Let's go to David first, and then we'll come back to you, and then Tom, and then I saw Steve's hands in the back. So help our helper by raising your hands. Go ahead, David.
Kevin, did you guys road course test anywhere coming in before?
We did not. The reason being is, a lot of times you go to VIR, which is close for us. Some guys go to Road America, and for us, I just felt like when we came here last year, we weren't really where we needed to be, and with the things that we did at the test, and the way that the car travels with the elevation changes, and there's just a lot of differences with the surfaces and things like that. So we didn't do any testing, and we just. Yeah, and finally we just ended it. We just said, yeah, yeah. Well, I think so, and I think a lot of guys just want to go and get in a rhythm. But after you've been to these places 8, 9, 10 times, you pretty much know what you need to do. And it's not like when we used to come here, everybody was always trying to come up with new transmission ratios and things to get better. And now you're kind of in a box, and I'd rather see my guys fresh and the cars prepared right in the shop, instead of taking them out of the shop for a day or two and really, having to go to the racetrack and be miserable by the time you get to the end of the week. So it just makes for whatever week it is, it makes for a long week for those guys, and I'd rather just have them fresh and do the things that we know we need to do for this particular racetrack.
In the back.
In this series dominated by ovals, a road course still is a badge of honor, isn't it? Just because it sort of takes a different driving skill, so it is a badge of honor. Yeah, have a road course win too. Yeah, and I think when we won Watkins Glen, and I guess it was 06, it feels like makes you a more well-rounded driver when you finally get to put a road course win trophy in your trophy case. So this place has been rather a little bit, for us, it's been a little bit elusive, just for the fact that we've finished second, we finished third, and we've won a couple Southwest Tour races here and Winston West races back in the day. And so for me, it's kind of like California Speedway was. It's like, man, are we ever going to be able to finally knock the barrier down here and get to victory lane? But yeah, I mean, as a driver, you want to be well-rounded and win on all different types of racetracks for sure.
Tom.
Kevin, You obviously have a lot of confidence and competence on the road courses. You're very good on them. But a lot of very highly skilled drivers and good guys just hate road racing. Why is it that it seems to be like an either-or thing? Either you're great at it or you're terrible at it.
I would say, from when I started in this series to where we are now with the drivers in the garage, it's probably a much less of a percentage than what it used to be as far as guys that don't like it. And I think the reason that most people are okay with it now is because everybody knows how to build the cars now, and they know how to make them drive right. They know how to make them stop. And when I first started in the Cup Series, it was still a wide range of vehicles that showed up to the racetrack as far as how they were prepared. So, if you go back even further before my time, I imagine that was even wider, and there was only a handful of guys that were competitive just because their cars weren't competitive and prepared right. So I would say that everybody likes the change in pace of coming to the road courses. I still am a firm believer that if you're going to be the champion, there should be a road race in the championship chase. And for if you're going to be the best on that particular year, you need to be the best at all the different styles of racetracks.
Steve.
How about a dirt race? No.
These cars would be a mess on the dirt.
Kind of fun. Going to Daytona, since obviously we've run the 2x2 whatever Daytona. Do you go in with a different kind of mindset? Have you had think about the strategy to win that race and knowing what you know now?
I think as a team we have a set strategy that we're going to go into that race with this week and see how it works and whether that's right or wrong, I don't know, but we've talked about it for a couple weeks now and have a good plan.
Lindy, do you still need? Yeah. Okay, wait for the microphone.
I was going to ask
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Steve.
I was going to ask you about
I'm babbling.
The way the racing is now. Is it okay with you, or would you rather see it?
The racing would be the same way that it is now if the racetracks. The worst thing in the world that happens to this sport is repaving the racetracks. That is the absolute worst thing you can do to make the racing bad. Is to pave a racetrack. And you'd look at some of the racetracks that have been paved for 5 or 6 years now, and I don't know if it's the type of asphalt or whatever they're doing, the racing isn't the same that it was, and the racetracks just don't get bad. So basically if Daytona and Talladega would have been paved like they are now, however many years ago, and everybody would have figured out how to do what any car would have done what we do now. It's just that there's enough grip on the racetrack with the way that the asphalt is to allow you to do that. And there's really no way to fix it as far as I'm concerned. I mean, unless you just say, go back to the no bump drafting in the corners. That's the only way you can really fix it until the grip goes away. But paving the racetracks are a killer for the racing.
Let's go to Lindy, and then we'll end with Jenna.
Lindy Best from skirtsandscuffs.com. Where do you look to pass on this track? And what's your strategy going in? And is qualifying the key?
Qualifying doesn't hurt, but it's definitely not the end all as to whether you can win or not. I think going into the turn 11 here, going into turn 7, I don't even know how they number them now. That's how they used to number them. So 7 would be going into the S's back there, and 11 would probably be the prime 2 spots to pass. Unless somebody just makes an absolute mistake.
To borrow a question from Delana, how many cars are you running this week?
We're running 4. You talking at Daytona? Or this week? I guess it's next week. We will have 4 cars at Daytona. Myself, Stewart, Boyer, and Sadler. I think she just forgot. She knew that was how it was, but I think she just forgot. So, but that goes back to the style of racing. That's really the why. You got to have an even number of cars.